Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would help you guys out there, especially you younger guys who are new to the game. You're not used to how to deal with all this yet, of how to answer the question, hey, how much do you bench, bro? So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And this is one of those things that you're always going to deal with when you're a lifter. And it's obvious that you lift, you look like you lift. Other guys are going to ask you how much you bench. They don't ever ask you how much you deadlift or squat. They ask you how much do you bench. Now, a lot of guys out here are thinking, well, you should just answer honestly. And my point is, no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. In fact, they're not asking you because they really want an honest answer. And that's something you need to remember. 80% out of the time, out of someone who has been asked this question hundreds of times throughout the course of my life, 80% of the time, they're always going to have a negative comeback. And I mean that. They're not asking you because they really want to know or because they want to be impressed. They're asking you so that they can have some one-upmanship. So when a non-lifter or someone who used to lift asks you how much you bench, they basically want to be able to tell you that they know someone who's stronger than you. That's the only reason they are asking. And it's something that a lot of men do who are insecure because they're in some reason bothered by the fact that you lift, and they want to make themselves feel better about it, and they think that maybe you have an ego because you lift, and they want to bring your ego down, right? That's the only reason they're asking. So because their strategy has nothing to do with honesty, because they're going to give you a lie in response, I don't think you should be obligated to answer them honestly in this case, because all honesty does is play the game that they want. And I mean, the most ridiculous reply I ever got was when I actually was at my strongest in my life, in my 20s, on gear, walking around at 240 pounds on gear. And I answered the guy honestly. I had a guy ask me, hey man, how much you bench? I told him 425. And I was proud of that because, I mean, a 425 for me was my lifetime best. It was, I had peaked for that. It was the best I had ever done, and I was really happy with myself, right? And I'm like, yeah, 425. The most moronic reply that I got from the guy was, oh yeah, that ain't shit, man, that ain't shit. And it got even stupider from there because the guy then followed up with, I got out of high school football 2 years ago and I haven't lifted, but I bet you I can still put up 225 for a couple reps. Which was, 200 pounds less than what I had just said. But because of the fact that he was convinced he could do 200 pounds less than that and hadn't even been lifted, that my 425 wasn't shit. Or, oh, I got an uncle who benches 700. That's another one I had someone tell me. I got an uncle who benches 700, and they just felt the need to tell me that. And I'm sitting here thinking, really, what's his name? Because that's the other thing you need to remember. When people start in with this whole question, they're not applying the same standards you are. Even if their memory is going off of it or something, someone has told them they lift a certain amount, it could be that they know someone or have a family member or a friend who's an equipped power lifter. Maybe that's what the guy benches in a multiply shirt is a super heavyweight, right? And that's not comparable to what you're doing. It's not comparable to what you're doing. So when you give that honest answer, what you need to be prepared for is some exaggeration and a lie. Or even when I actually had someone actually ask me what I deadlift, they told me that they knew someone who deadlifted 1,500 pounds. And the guy telling me this was like a corrections officer at a thing and said, well, I got a guy in my prison who, deadlifts 1,500 pounds, which is, complete bullshit. No one's ever deadlifted 1,500 pounds. But he tried to tell me this. So it was like my 600 at the time was nothing because he knew someone in his penitentiary who he claimed deadlifted 1,500 pounds, which has never been done by a human being. World's strongest man, world records in powerlifting, no one has ever come even close to that. It's never been done by a human being. So he just gave me this total lie as a reply. It's totally made up. And it's the same when someone does some comparison. They have an uncle, they have a cousin, they have a brother. Basically what they are asking you is they want to know that you lift less than what they think someone they know lifts so that they can let you know as a way of one-upmanship to put you down that they know someone who benches more than you. just because they want to knock your dick in the dirt. That's the only reason people ask you this question. They actually really don't care. Do you think a non-lifter really knows anything about how much is that strong bench press? You think they really know what the current records are in any class, the national records, the world records, the state records? You think they really know? You could be a national record holder in your weight class, and when someone asks you what you bench, they know someone who's stronger than you. They have a brother who's stronger than you, their uncle, their daddy, their cousin, some guy in their cell block. Some guy they went to high school with benches more than you, even if you're a national record holder. So they're not actually looking for an honest answer. They don't actually know. They don't know. And in fact, sometimes they'll give you numbers that exceed world records. Or even worse, if they played football in high school. You guys need to remember, high school gym lifts don't count for anything because everyone in high school had a guy on their team who squats 600 pounds. You know what a 600-pound high school squat is? Doing a quarter rep with 2 spotters helping you lock it out. That's a 600-pound squat in the high school football locker room. The guy's a 350-pound squatter. He may be a 400-pound squatter, but that's a 600-pound squat. That's what it is. Same thing with a bench press. If you bounce 400 off your chest, lift your ass off the bench, and the spotter helps you lock it out, in a weight room, that's 400 bench. And as far as they're concerned, that 400 bench trumps your 315 that you've done legit with a pause. Right? It trumps it because it's more weight. They did that in high school. A guy on their team did that in high school. Therefore, you are a weak piece of shit. That is basically the question people are asking. So what I recommend is what Paul Carter recommends. Lie. Paul Carter, who's a legit 500-pound bench presser, I remember him talking about this, that he learned it's better to just lie. Because if he tells people the truth that he's a 500-pound, he benched 500 in comp, right? 500 raw with a pause, it doesn't impress people. It doesn't, because they know, I know someone who benches 600, right? They all know someone who benches 600, but it's funny, their name isn't in a record book anywhere. They all know someone who does. So his reply is 1,000 pounds. Doesn't matter. If someone asks you what you lift on any lift, just say 1,000 pounds. That's actually what he does. That's what he recommends. And I think that's the best answer ever because it shuts them down. He said, in fact, he recalled having a guy do that in an airport. He was there waiting to get on an airplane, and a guy was there with his wife. And he's like asking, hey, how much do you bench? Because he saw it coming. He knew it was happening. He said, 1,000 pounds. So he just doubled what he actually does, which is 500. And the guy stopped and just was quiet for a second. You shut down the BS they're about to throw at you, because that's what they're doing, guys. They don't want. They're going to lie back to you. They're going to lie about what they lifted in high school. They're going to lie about what their uncle lifts. They're going to lie. So just lie first. Beat them to the punch so they can't insult you. Because when he did it, the guy was quiet. And his wife turned and looked at him and asked, "Is that a lie?" Do you know why? Because non-lifters don't know what a heavyweight is. They have no clue. They have no clue. So this is a case of where your innocent lie shuts down an insult. And it's a real easy way to do it. Because you guys who are younger, you're newer to this, get ready for it. Because once people start doing this, once you get just big enough that people can tell that you lift, and people ask you what you bench, you will be forever weak. It's always, almost always, intended to be one-upmanship. Every single time. Every single time. And even if it's someone that you don't think is going to do it, because normally it's guys. I had a woman do this to me. She asked me for a spot when I was at a 24-hour fitness. I was just swinging through for a quick bench workout. I was benching. She asked me for a spot. She was like a 50-year-old woman. 50-year-old woman. And then she asked me what's my best ever lifetime bench. And I messed up and I told the truth. Sure enough, I've got an uncle who benches 650. And I'm like, really? What's his name? So, what competition was that in? Which federations was that in? A 650. His name should be in a book somewhere. And then she got quiet because she realized I called her on her bluff. But it happened even then. So, guys, I think Paul Carter's answer is the best answer no matter how big you are. When someone comes up and asks you how much you bench, who is obviously not a lifter, and you know that they're asking, they're not. If they're another power lifter, go ahead and answer honest. If they're a serious lifter, answer honest. and tell them with a pause. You know, I bench whatever, and that's with a pause. Okay? Raw. Be honest with the other serious lifter, but if it's not a serious lifter, it's a non-lifter, just lie and say 1,000 pounds. It'll save you a ton of trouble. In fact, that'll just shut down the whole conversation. They'll change the subject on you. Just say 1,000 pounds. Like to invest 1,000 pounds. Problem solved. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.